You're listening to the Mind Flipping Podcast, where you'll find tools and tips to help you renovate and update your mind and life.
Well, thanks, Victoria, so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk with you to find out more about you, more about how you've been flipping minds for years. And yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. And so on that note, why don't we start with why did you get into what you do? And then what do you do?
Okay. Well, so I'm a certified hypnotist and a law of attraction expert. And how I got started, I mean, there's many different entry points that we could choose from second grade to high school to 28. So we'll pick the 28-year-old entry point. And I was at a point in my life where, and I think a lot of people, 28 seems to be a really common time in a person's life when you just start evolving, you start questioning things, you start making major changes. And I was going through one of those times where I was a stockbroker. I wasn't feeling fulfilled. I had everything going on. I had a great house. I was married. I drove a great car. I had a six-figure income, but I just, I had all that, but I didn't feel like fulfilled inside. And I started taking a lot of personal growth seminars to, just really figure out who I am. And during these seminars, they would do these little closed eye techniques where basically we were meditating and we were doing exercises to get in touch with things maybe from our childhood, or to forgive people, or do, little exercises like that. And I was just so into those exercises that I wanted other people to come and explore the same thing I was doing. And it was really hard to get people to get motivated to take 4 days out of their life and spend $500 or $600 to go and experience this. And it was hard to explain what this experience was about. So since that was like the best part of that was these closed eye techniques, I developed my own closed eye techniques. And I wanted to get validation that I was doing it right and that I wasn't going to hurt anyone. So I started looking online to see, well, how can I validate that what I am doing is right? And it took me a couple of years to stumble upon a hypnotherapy training school. And I just came across it. The next one was 2 weeks from the day that I found it. It was in town. It was right down the street. And I'm like, that is it. Not only am I going to be able to have a valid way of writing these hypnosis scripts and knowing that I'm doing a good job, but I can actually start a new career, and I can actually I was playing therapist anyway in my job as a financial consultant, because the last thing people want to talk about is their money. They really love talking about, they wanted to open up about their relationships and their sex life and their, other things way more, how they're having trouble losing weight and all kinds of things. So I was already sort of playing therapist in a way.
You were 3/4 of the way there already.
I was already 3/4 of the way there. And so, this kind of gave me a formal modality in which I could practice in a legitimate, real way. But my very first, it wasn't to become a hypnotherapist. It was really because I wanted to create these recordings that people could listen to in the comfort of their own home without having to spend a lot of money or go anywhere.
Okay. Was there something between realizing, the switch was flipped and you're like, I want to do this. And you said there was about 2 years.
Yeah.
Was there something in between there where you tried doing like workshops and realized people won't do that?
It was really just kind of me getting to a realization within myself that this would be a legitimate way that I really could make a living doing this, because I was making a really, really good, living doing what I was doing. So it was really competing with, am I really going to be able to take care of myself, number one? And number two, I could not really figure out what the modality was going to look like. And I kept going between, am I going to be a coach? And I was like looking at, Coach University online, and I was looking at all different kinds of, maybe I'm going to be a meditation instructor, but as soon as, so I just kept playing with these different ideas of like, what do I want to be when I grow up?
Right.
Again,
Yeah.
what's going to be my second career? And I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like until I came across that hypnosis school. Once I came across the hypnosis school, it was literally like, I didn't even have to think 2 minutes about it. I took out my credit card and I enrolled in both the, you have your hypnosis certification, you have your hypnotherapy certification, and I enrolled in both classes. I just knew what I wanted to do. It
Awesome.
was just bang, like instantly in a second, my life was changed.
Very cool. A big part of this podcast is based on my belief that those change happens in an instant, that there are those times where our mind is flipped. And it sounds like you were looking for doors, like, I want to do this. And then this huge door was there. And
It was.
yeah.
It was. And Tony Robbins talks about how, because a lot of people think that change takes a, enormously long time, and it doesn't. As soon as you make a decision, that's when change begins. Just sometimes takes a long time to get yourself to the point where you make a decision.
Right.
I mean, you could be in a relationship for a very, very long time, and realize that's not the one you want to be in. But it's not until you make that decision that the change happens, or just the other way around. You could pop the question, and then boom, that's the moment you've decided you're going to spend the rest of your life with that person. That's when the change happens.
And either way, life changes like that forever.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does. It doesn't have to take a long time.
And so it was kind of 2 years where you were trying to figure out the decision. What's it going to be? And
in limbo. I was really in limbo for a while.
And you saw the ad and you're like, I'm doing it. And then you got certified, you went through the training and started producing audios?
I did. I had already made a couple. So backing up a little bit, the boyfriend that I was with at the time was owned a recording studio. He was a recording, so it was kind of convenient.
Yeah.
And my ex-husband, who was really good, we stayed really good friends. He was a graphic designer, so I had somebody to design my my website and my programs, and I had somebody to help record them, and he had a whole studio. I had the whole setup with the all the way down, to the jewel cases, to the actual CD burning process, and the everything.
Nice.
So I would just go over there and make these high quality professional recordings, have them completely. I would of course help and put my CDs together and burn them and put them in jewel cases and shrink wrap them and everything. So I had my own little production thing going.
But you did the most important, the magic, your voice. And
exactly.
Yeah.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Did you do cassettes back then?
I did. That was the very first. As a matter of fact, when I graduated from the hypnosis school, before graduating, one of our projects was that we needed to create a program, like a multi-session recording program. It was kind of like a bonus, but I just was the kind of person, I'm always like I wasn't a straight A student in school, but any extracurricular education that I've ever taken on, I always make the most of it. So anytime there's a bonus, it's like I go for it. So all we needed to do was just put together a small little multi-session program. Well, I decided to create a 12-session program.
Over the top, overachieving.
I am over the top. 12-session program called the Stress Management Workshop. And it took you through everything having to do with stress, from basically the four sides of our human being: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, to work, to money, to creating goals, it was an amazing program. And it was on
Awesome.
cassette, and I created like 300 of these. I had them professionally produced at disc makers. They were in one of those little square deals with the 12, and a workbook. This was like over the top. This cost me over $15,000 to.
I was going to say, that's a major investment on
Yeah.
your side.
I believed in it. And when I left Las Vegas, because this was all when I was living in Las Vegas, when I left Las Vegas to move to Florida, I had been a hypnotist for about 6 years. I ended up having to leave 150 of those things behind. And I had an assistant that still worked in my Vegas office for a little while. I had that office for a couple of years. It was really just a production office where the CDs were manufactured and sent out of. And so he worked for me and did all that. So I asked him that, can you at least just try to go door to door with these, or just do something to get rid of them? And he ended up having to dump them. It was like heartbreaking. So lesson learned, that was one of the things that one of the things I learned early on is don't mass produce something until you find out if there's really a market for that or not. Because stress is definitely the number one killer and of people. Ultimately, it leads to all kinds of horrible, horrible things. But most people don't really want to deal with it. And I kind of learned that. So you have to sell people. What I learned is sell people what they want and give them what they need.
Awesome.
And if I had it to do over again, I would have completely redone that completely different way. But lesson learned.
Yep. School of Hard Knocks. That one hurt.
School of Hard Knocks. Yeah.
So you really started out with those cassette tapes, and then what was your next? That was stress management. What was your next kind of field or focus?
So I, it took a long time to get myself to where I'm at right now, where I kind of have a little bit more of a focus. It took a long time. I've been doing this for like 19 years. And it wasn't until
when you were like 13.
Right. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah. Just go with it.
Right. So I started off, but I had the stress management workshop, and then I had about, 8 other, for anywhere from motivation, forgiveness, stop smoking, weight loss, positive thinking. I had like my first 8, and so it just kind of covered everything.
Okay.
And I think that's one of the things that as hypnotists we do. We can help with anything. Pretty much, because everything you do in your life comes down to the power of your mind. And hypnosis can pretty much motivate you to do anything, or give you the proper way to think, or resolve any blocks that you're having to ultimately your success. Success was another one of them. And so I really just kind of wanted to help everyone. And it's not that I don't continue to want to help everyone. I just have a little bit more of a narrow focus, and it's been narrowing down over time. When that first took place was pretty much right around when the movie The Secret came out.
Okay.
And prior to the movie The Secret, I had read a lot of books by like Shakti Gawain, Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, many of these people who speak about law of attraction, maybe not in those exact words, but that's what they're talking about.
Right.
And they talk about the energy, they talk about the vibration, they talk about like attracting like, they talk about basically your mind just being able to draw things into your life and being magnetic and all of that. So I worked a lot of this vocabulary into my scripts already. And it was sort of my little secret. It was sort of like how because I get a lot of really positive reviews on my programs, but I just thought everybody was using these words in their programs. But that's what made my programs, I feel, much more powerful, because unknowingly, because this was the background and the education that I came from, not just straight up hypnotherapy school, but all the last decade of studying metaphysical, metaphysical, I'm at a loss for that word.
The awareness of quantum physics
Exactly. Just studying that stuff and learning about personal growth and learning about law of attraction, that, just came out of me in my script. So that was very much a part of my script. So when The Secret came out in like 2005 or so, or, it's right around there, it was like, oh, I can talk about this now. Like, I can actually call my programs what they are.
You kind of point out what you had already been doing.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's no longer like this, oh, I wonder how people are going to feel about this, this magnetic energy that they have that's drawing and creating things in their life. Like, now I can literally call it like law of attraction to blah, blah, blah. And it's hypnosis, to help law of attraction work better. So I started incorporating that into my programs in 2005, or actually making more programs about law of attraction in 2005. So I started narrowing it down then. And then I started narrowing it down a little bit more. It's like, to what people generally like to accomplish with, I still help people with weight loss. I still help people with quitting smoking. I still help people with, athletics and all kinds of things. But who am I ultimately looking for, and who is attracted to my kind of products is usually people that are in some stage of their business where maybe they're having blocks to that next level of success. Maybe they're afraid to take that next step. Maybe they're afraid to quit their day job, like I had to at one point. I didn't really have as much of a choice. That's another story.
Okay.
But helping people to ultimately get in alignment with who they were really meant to become.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that makes me think of a couple of questions.
Sure.
What's the long story? A little shorter?
Yes.
Because I'm sure there are a lot of listeners that maybe it's not taking the step and leaving a job, but it's leaving a relationship. It's leaving old habits. What can you share about your story that made you change jobs or want to change careers? And if there was a tool, technique, a mindset that helped you do it?
Right. So at the time, partially it was that I was floating because I had been doing so much personal growth work that I had this like belief system that like, if you just do it, they will come. Build
Right.
it and they will come.
Right.
Do what you want and then money will follow. And I was just had all these like real positive mantras, but it wasn't integrated yet. Okay. However, what happened was after I graduated from hypnotherapy school, I just took the next step and I opened an office. And in order to open the office, I had to fill out a stack of paperwork about that big with the Clark County business license, because what I did was actually in Las Vegas considered a psychic arts license. And so they want to know your whole life story. So I did that. Long story short, my boss at the time, where I was a stockbroker, was sent some of that paperwork because they were doing this background check on me. And I was up and up about it. I wasn't going to lie. And he got it, called me into his office. Victoria, what is this all about? And I'm like, starting a business. And he's like, well, you got to make a decision. And that was one of those moments where I had to make a decision. And he gave me 30 days to think about it, but I already knew what I was going to do. So day 30, I'm out of there. And I was not making money yet in my business. I was spending money. It was all, spending money on rent, spending money on Yellow Pages ads, spending money on other kinds of advertising. Cassette tapes, all kinds of stuff. So I was not in the plus side yet with my business.
Wow.
And not only that, but I had to leave a lot of like stock options and things like that on the table. So it was like literally jumping into the deep end for me. But I just believed in what I was doing so much. And I went through, it was another couple of years. I went through a couple of years of struggle to get from where I wasn't making any money to where I actually started to like, oh, I've actually made a profit.
There's something left.
Exactly. And now I had to contend with every single person in my family, every single friend that I had, every single person was like, maybe you should consider going back to work. No, I was just absolutely not going to do it. And I never did. So
awesome. And as you know, helping people with change, a lot of times people in our lives are threatened by the change. This is called mind flipping. It's about renovating and updating our minds and lives. And sometimes when we do that, when we upgrade our lives, other people are threatened by it.
They are.
And I hear that you are determined. I'm not going to be the old me. I'm changing. And that's awesome.
Yeah. I think that's my middle name. That's one of my middle names is determination, like that's how people normally describe me. I'm just always sort of had that mindset. I also needed to get the ability to, just to attract what I wanted deeply ingrained into me. It's not something that takes place like just because you took a couple of classes and you read a couple of books.
Right.
It is something that you have to work at. And I had to diligently work at that.
And so do you remember what that work was? Because as you know, changing habit, our subconscious wants to pull us back to the old way.
Yeah.
Was there a mindset, a phrase, a technique, something that you used then or even now to bring you back when your habits want to keep you?
One of the things, for me, I had this moment of clarity. I'll never forget it, where I was like just writing this, and I'm not like a religious person, but I was just writing a letter to God. And awesome. I was just like, why is this happening to me? Why me? Poor me, blah, 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 blah. So I was journaling, and I think that that's absolutely a tool. The power of writing is phenomenal. Whenever, as a matter of fact, just a little segue, whenever I have a certain goal for like maybe, how much money I want to make in that month or that day or whatever, if I write it down, something shifts and makes that a reality versus just having a fleeting thought about that. If I write it down somehow or another, magically, it seems to happen. But getting back to writing, as I was writing this, I started to hear this voice from within myself telling me to stop feeling sorry for myself, because I had like almost like fallen down this rabbit hole where when I first started on my journey, I was meditating every day. I was programming my mind for success. I was saying my affirmations and doing my hypnosis and really reprogramming my mind for success. But as things got really stressful for me, I moved away from that. And it was so completely ironic. And so what's the word? Almost like hypocritical. Here I was teaching people how to use the power of my mind, but I wasn't using it. I was too stressed out, didn't have enough time because I'm like, no, and I would just let days and weeks and months go by without even taking any of the time to reprogram my mind. So I was doing it the hard way. I was trying to do this with willpower, and that just wasn't working. And I kept reinforcing the bad luck that I was having, because I would get more stressed, and then so that day when I had that moment of clarity and I said, stop feeling sorry for yourself. And I realized you stopped doing the thing that got you, to take this risk in the first place, and to get, to this beautiful place of creating these wonderful tools that, people should have access to. You have a gift. You need to, just cut it, cut the crap and do what you really do. What got you here in the first place, what got me here in the first place was I was so touched by the work that I was doing in the seminar. And then I just stopped doing it. So I started doing that again. I started meditating again. I started journaling. And as I did that, I started receiving insight and intuition on how I could more efficiently market my business. And then things just like literally within a month, I became profitable again.
Awesome. It was almost like there was another moment of decision. You were kind of getting back into the pit a little bit.
Yes. Another moment of decision.
Yeah.
It really does. It comes down to these little moments of decision where you decide something in an instant, and you continue to move forward with that. And so I've realized for myself that is the single solitary thing that you have to be in touch with is working with your mind. Whether it be through hypnosis, whether it be through meditation, whether it be through law of attraction, whether it be through writing, whether it be through gratitudes. You got to be, doing something like that every single day. It's like exercise for your mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
You look at your body after a while of not doing any working out, and you wonder, well, why are things a little shaky and flabby, not so tight? Well, I haven't been working out the last, same thing happens with your mind.
Yep.
Got to work it out.
I'll tell my clients all the time, the work that you need to do is about taking your mind to the gym. And unlike going to the gym, you can keep your mind in shape in really short little reminders. Like you said, journaling, affirmations, listening to audios, and it pays off.
It does.
I wonder if there wasn't something you read, saw, like where that insight was on that day where you realized kind of the V8, I'm not, walking the walk. I'm just talking the talk, and you made the decision.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
It was crazy. And it was just like, literally, I don't know where that voice came from, but it was like God had spoken to me through me, or I am God, or, however you look at that. It was like just a moment of like, whoo, like an epiphany just blew through me.
Clarity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very cool. Oh, so I don't know if you could hear it. I just heard a spackling noise. It's time for the spackle round. Yes.
The spackle round.
Spackle round. We're going to fill in some holes for our listeners here. So let's start out the spackle round with, let's see, do you have a word or a phrase of the day that you'd like to share?
I do. And it's a word I already used today called gratitude. Gratitude.
I've heard of that. Okay. Now you get 2 opportunities to explain that word. And I'm going to give you 2 ways to do it. The first, you have 24 seconds to explain gratitude. Only 24 seconds. I will stop you if you go beyond 24 seconds.
Okay. All right.
And then after that, explain gratitude in 7 words in a way that anybody can understand.
Sure.
Are you up for it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to count to 3. At the count of 3, you can go.
Okay.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 2.5, 3. Go ahead.
Okay. So we are always looking for evidence to show us, what is working or what is not working in our lives. And if we look at what we do have, we're going to draw more and more of what we do have. And so through gratitude and through just taking time to appreciate what we have, we're going to draw more of that by taking time to see what's missing.
One. It's a fast 24.
It is a fast 24.
You
That
did
could have
great.
gone. Thank you.
I know you could have gone for hours probably. All right. 7 words that describe gratitude.
Okay, 7 words. Can I do 2 times 7 words? Like, can I do like this 7-word phrase and this 7-word phrase?
Well, the only rule of this podcast is that there are no rules. So
Okay,
go
I
ahead.
have to, because I came up with 2 of them.
All right.
Okay, and I did not make these up. So these are
Borrowed.
These are borrowed. Okay,
Okay.
one is neurons that fire together, wire together.
Love it.
Neurons that fire together, wire together. And the other one is what we put our attention on expands.
Fantastic. Is that first one Hebb's Law, I think?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is.
And then the second one again was?
What we put our attention on expands. What
Awesome.
we put our attention on expands. Oh, that is 7 words.
Excellent. Well done. Well done. Thank you. All right. Second question in the spackle round. What's love got to do with it?
Okay. You know what I think love has to do with it is that number one, I think we're all here. I think love is something that we're all meant to experience and give to each other. But what's most important is that we need to give love to ourselves first. It's not selfish to love yourself. The more you love yourself and take care of your own needs and do what is within your heart, the bigger and more vast you become, and the more you are able to love someone else. You can only love another person to the extent that you love yourself. So I think it's really important to, as we're doing our personal growth, as we're working on making changes in our lives, we have to put a lot of focus on loving ourselves, and that way we have more capacity to love everything and everyone around us. And love has the ability to change the world.
Awesome. Fantastic. What I heard was expansion and attraction. And that's what I think of when I think of Victoria. So
yeah.
You're an expert on love.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I would say for sure.
What scares you?
What scares me is running out of time. Ultimately, I'm scared of running out of time at the end of the day. I'm scared of running out of time though, in my life. Like, I guess you could kind of say I'm scared of dying before I've had a chance to taste, feel, touch, and experience everything that this amazing world has to offer us. I want to go everywhere. I want to experience everything. I want to help, millions of people to get to their true fulfillment and their true potential in their lives. So I guess I just worry about running out of time to do all those amazing things.
And so what helps you?
What helps me to,
like when you have that feeling of not enough time.
The thing that helps me, and I had written the self-talk about that, about what perpetuates that, but what actually makes that better for me is by being present and staying focused on this moment, because this moment is a gift, and it's all that we have. We don't have, yesterday is gone, tomorrow is not promised, but right now is all that we have. And so by practicing that gratitude for this moment and just being grateful that, like, this isn't, I'm not entitled to living another day. Every single moment that I'm here is a gift. And so it's about being present, and it's about just focusing on right here and right now and what I can do in this moment.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Well, I'm just reminded in my brain that it is time now. I've got something, you might be surprised, you might be shocked, you may even spread some tears. There's a major award you're getting a major award today.
I am? What
It's
is that?
it's the golden cassette holder. And it's for Victoria's pioneering work in self-hypnosis audios. Yes, it's the golden cassette holder.
That is amazing.
Would
Oh
you
my
like to accept
goodness.
this award?
Yes, I will. Oh my
Excellent.
goodness. I am so touched.
Yes, I'm glad. Well, you've
I
earned
am,
it for your
thank you.
pioneering work.
I love it. I love it.
I'm glad you made cassettes. So watch your mail. You will be getting the golden
Oh
cassette.
my goodness. That is amazing. Nobody's ever made anything quite like that for me
Yes,
before.
I'm
I loved
glad.
it. I love it.
Awesome. Well, as we wrap things up here, do you have any final thoughts, requests for our listeners? Anything you want to add?
Yes, definitely. So, I have been on this personal growth journey for like my whole life, but more formally for like over the last 20 years. And I just want everyone to get on their own personal growth journey. And so I have a free gift that will help you to do that. It's a free ebook that I wrote. It's only 37 pages. And so it's a quick read. It'll help you, but it has like these amazing little exercises in there that'll just help to get you on the path. And so you can download your copy. It's called the Empowered Life ebook, and it's going to help you to discover your life purpose, unlock your full potential, and supercharge your success, which is what I really want to help everybody to be able to do. And that's why I'm giving that away for free.
Fantastic. So you'll get me the URL. I'll put it in the show notes at mindflipping.com. And that's fantastic. Sounds like a great mind flipper.
It is.
Thank you for your generosity and sharing
Thank
your
you.
abundance. Yeah. Fantastic. Any other last requests other than going to mindflipping.com, looking for that free ebook, which again is called, what's your ebook?
It's called the Empowered Life ebook.
Awesome. Any other requests?
Just to fill your day with gratitude. Think about 5 things today that you're grateful for and notice how that makes you feel, and then take each day and continue to be present and notice the beauty and the wonder of life that is all around you and inside you, and that you're creating moment by moment.
Awesome. Thanks, Victoria. I appreciate you and your time today.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks.
very much, Rick. I really appreciate it.
You bet.